Hey, bro.
Hey man, I got this crazy idea.
Okay, what do you got?
All right, so hear me out. What if we...
Bro, hell yeah. Dude, we gotta start making some calls. Let's call Sworn.
Hey guys.
Hey, Sworn. Hope you're doing well,
No, no,
man.
please. Look, Sworn, I got an opportunity for you, man.
Alright, get to the point. What is it?
So imagine a league with all the bubble teams, intense competition, creator events, fan interaction.
You know what? I can get on board with that. So what now?
Don't worry, we got the orgs taken care of.
And we need a reveal video, so we're gonna borrow your montage editor. Thanks in advance.
Call me up when you're sober, when you've showered and changed. You give it up like it's over, but never give it away. And I don't wanna fall for you this time. I can find the truth in all the lies. If I could, I would believe me. If I could, I would need you. I don't wanna fall for you this time. Call me up when you're sober, when you showered and changed. You give it up like it's over, but never give it away. And I don't wanna fall for you this time. I can find the truth in all the lies. If I could, I would believe me. If I could, I would need you. I don't wanna fall for you this time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MPL Reveal Show. We're so excited to be here tonight. My name is Volts. I am one of the co-commissioners here and founders of the MPL. Joining me tonight is our other co-commissioner, Woos. Woos, this has been so long in the waiting. Excited to be here.
It has. My heart is beating. The butterflies in my stomach are going. I'm so excited to finally show this off since we've been working on it, working with our staff, making this such a big reveal for everybody to really help out the bubble scene in the long term here.
Help out the bubble scene in the long term was one of the reasons that we founded the MPL here. We are not here for a one-off hit. We're not here for clout. We are here for the long run. We have many plans in the works, and unique things like this are just one of the first things we wanted to do. Real quick, we want to thank our staff behind the scenes, some of whom you're going to get to meet tonight as we introduce all of the teams and where they're going to be placed in just a little bit. But we do have Wolfie, Too Hot, and Nation RL. They are our organizers for the league. The famous man himself, Adam, is known as the stats guy. He's going to be doing all of the stats for the league. And then we'd like to thank all of our admins on the back end who will be handling the Discord, making sure the teams and the fans are having a great experience behind the scenes.
Absolutely, and not to mention also our lead graphic designer, Centric, has been doing a fantastic job, as you can see all of our overlays today, as well as the announcements you see on our Twitter and in the Discord. She has been doing an amazing job, so shout out to her.
Yes, she has been. And also, we'd like to thank some of the people who helped bring this idea to life when it was just in the baby stages. Prestige Esports jumped on board right away from hearing the pitch. We want to thank them so much for their contribution to the league, and proud to announce them as one of the official league sponsors for Season 1 of the Melon Patch League. Well, Woos, that's probably enough here from us. We are not the main portion of this show. There are so many cool announcements and people to see. Should we just go ahead and kick it down to the desk?
Yeah, I would say so. Guys, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Bepic, and oh wait, I forgot we changed that. We changed that part of the script. Sorry, my name is Awash, and we are here with the rest of this brilliant desk and some other people behind the scenes that we'll get to meet a little bit later. We're here for the reveal of the Melon Patch League, of course, sponsored by Prestige Esports. So shout out to them for working up the prize pool and helping put together such an awesome event. I'm joined by, right now, 3 wonderful people. Galgan, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Awash. My name is Galgan. It's a pleasure to be on this desk. Fantastic people to be alongside, and of course, MPG for putting this on alongside Prestige Esports. I'm really excited about what's to come here. I've known about this for a little bit, obviously the announcements and whatnot. It looks absolutely fantastic. And Atomic right below me, I know you're feeling the same way.
Yeah, man, it's pretty great. And, as a representative, I guess you would say, from Prestige, I'm really happy to be supporting MPL. I already know that we're going to be doing great things from here on out. And the rest of the show is going to be pretty packed full of pretty much everything. And Coach Scully can tell you more about that and kind of who he is.
Hey, my name is Coach Scully. As you can guess, I am a coach, but I'm one of the head training directors over at Melon Patch itself. But hey, just because I'm part of Melon Patch doesn't mean I know any more about everything going on than my co-casters and host with me here tonight. I'm just as clueless as y'all are, and I'm just as excited, and I'm extremely hyped to see the teams that we got coming in, where they're going to be placed, and just everything about this. Starting off, we definitely, like Atomic, you were saying, from Prestige, huge thanks to Prestige right now for just helping make this possible. A lot of these teams here don't wake up in the morning without at least being promised a little bit of something, right? So it is hard to get in a show like this going on without the funding, and it is extremely generous funding that we have, and I'm very excited to see. What about y'all? Want to say something about how we got everything going on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned that some teams kind of wake up in the morning, and I would argue most don't. But yeah, as far as everything goes, I mean, we're going to be starting out here. We're going to be having it's going to be a 6-week league. Everybody has seen 20 teams inside, consisting of 5-week regular season, 1 day a week for these guys. So basically, just a scrim time, kind of to fill in, participate in the league, get that kind of view over to the Twitch audience, and it's going to be quite some fun, I'd say. Definitely something to be looking forward to. It's going to be constant action for at least 6 weeks, plus that playoff, plus the short circuit thing. I will touch on a little bit, but so far we got a good consistent plan going.
Absolutely. We'll actually jump right into the exact details of all this. And just a note, myself as the host and the other hosts and the other casters, analysts that we have tonight, we all have no idea about where these teams are being placed. They're completely randomized into their groups. There's no sort of seeding. We don't know where they're being placed. The teams don't know where they're being placed. This is all being seen for the very first time. So we've got a 5-week regular season, 4 matches, and a bye week. We'll have 5 teams in each of the 4 different pools. Each match is going to be a best of 7. So a super long series. You got to be consistent in every single game, and in the long run, if you're going to want to take wins throughout the league. And I'm actually going to pass it to Galgan to let us know what that playoff situation is going to look like.
Yeah, so one of the really cool things about this league is the fact that while there are so few matches in the regular season, there's chance for any team to really do well, but on the flip side, there's a chance for a team to maybe not be feeling it on the day of during the regular season. Don't worry though, there's the Clash of the Circuits, a very high octane single elimination last chance bracket for those teams who couldn't quite make it into the playoffs immediately to get their second shot at MPL glory. It's going to be fantastic. You're not going to want to miss it. It is the Clash of the Circuits brought to you by Short Circuit Gaming. That'll happen on Wednesday, March 2nd, after all the regular season dust has settled. And then we'll move on to the final playoffs of this whole league. Really exciting stuff.
And I love that Clash of the Circuits idea because with completely randomized seating, right? It's completely randomized. We don't have any background information on these teams as it pertains to this individual league, and hiring out the statisticians to get everybody's Liquipedia information is just a lot more than it's worth. So with the randomized seedings, you can have the possibility of two really strong playoff level teams going at each other in the group stages early on and just knocking each other straight out of the bracket. So that second chance to get some of those top level teams back into our viewing area once again is just going to be key.
It definitely will be. And don't forget, we do have a prize pool associated with this tournament as well. A total of $1,000, $600 going to the team in first place. The second place team is going to get $300, and the third place team will receive $100. So no amount of money to be completely scoffed at. All these teams are going to be taking it very seriously the whole way through. And so how this reveal show is going to work is one by one, we're going to go through each of the different teams that are participating in the Melon Patch League. Some of them have sent creators over to reveal their teams, where they're going to be placed in the bracket, and then we'll come back to us and we'll kind of give you the breakdown, the reaction, and kind of the ramifications of everything as it comes through. And if I'm hearing Ignited in my ear correctly, I believe that we are ready to toss it over to our first creator. Let's show the first team.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. So, yes, I am the owner and founder of Untamed Esports, and yeah, that's basically what it is. We're happy to be here. We thank you guys very much for inviting us to all the members of the Melon Patch League. And in the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Untamed Esports will be competing in Pool D, Team Slot 4. Now back to the caster's desk.
So there we have it. Our first team revealed, Untamed Esports. Most of you have probably heard of them. They've been in that bubble scene for quite a little bit. So Gallian, break it down for me. What is this Untamed team all about? What are your maybe expectations for them?
And
Well,
there
I
we
mean-
go. I realized got a loud dog in the house, but it's all good. Listen, Untamed, we know they're one of the hotter and newer names on the bubble scene here. Really excited to see how they play. Obviously, know as we're early on in this show, it's going to be a little hard to tell as nobody else has filled out that Pool D side just yet, let alone all the other slots. So we'll have to see just who they're going up against. But I have pretty high expectations for Untamed specifically. I think that they can bring a lot to this league. Obviously, best of 7 format, so it favors teams that are going to stick to that grind and make sure that they can take as many series as they can on their way to the playoffs. I'm really liking it and excited to see them.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and add for you the fact that, Melon Patch, Untamed has made quite the run here in the past RLCS Open Qualifiers. I mean, they beat out some teams that, right after that team might have disbanded or, just some really impressive teams. And they did a phenomenal job. I think they even went against some rank A teams there. They were almost guaranteed rank A and 6-mans. They're guaranteed rank B plus at least. So, they're at that level. They've done a phenomenal job of proving why they're in the bubble scene and why they should stay, and how they kind of continue into this league is the question.
Absolutely. And they've had some great showings lately. We've all probably seen them at least once in the old tactical banditries, but some of the teams that I've seen in the tactical banditry tournaments, casting those for a while, like Anomaly, who's not in our pool, any of our pools here for MPL, but they took a tournament over them just this month already. So putting up some great results against some well-known bubble scene teams. And like y'all said, I have high expectations. I'm looking for them to be a top team in Pool D.
Alrighty, so here's like the consensus is that there's some pretty high expectations for Untamed, given the name, given their performance. Renter Regional One, just one series and I think a game extra away from making day 3, which is a huge accomplishment in itself, making it that far. But we got tons of teams that we've got to reveal tonight. We're ready for our second team. Let's hear it from Kendo.
Howdy, everybody. Kendo Slice here. That is Ken Carmen, and I am representing Short Circuit Gaming at SCG Twit with 2 T's at the end there on the Twitter side. Guys, I'm looking forward to an amazing season going forward with the new roster. Aviator, Blaze, Race, and Jonathan. This is a roster that has me very excited, and I imagine everybody else on the desk will be as well. It's been fun to see each one of these individuals growing through things like Tactical Banditry, Seasonal Shootout, Rain Esports, Frost Esports, go down the list. But guys, I have some important business to announce, and that is the pooling for our friends over at Short Circuit Gaming in this inaugural season of the Melon Patch League. Short Circuit Gaming, they're going to be competing in Pool B as team number 3. Now, back to the caster's desk.
Kendo never fails to impress and give us a whole ton of energy that we need to keep this show going, because it's going to be a long one. And Desk, we've all worked with each other here and there and everywhere, it seems like. And Short Circuit, they're one of those teams that does pretty much seem to be everywhere.
They really do. And I just have to comment again, Kendo's energy just totally infectious here. It reinvigorates us here early. But I do want to touch specifically, I'm a little results driven here. Speaking to Short Circuit specifically, one of their most recent results in the Rain Esports monthly number 3 was actually taking down our most recent announcement there, Untamed, in a 3-0 sweep. So, it's a single result right there, but it's a good look for them. They're in separate pools. Obviously, we'll fill out these sheets as we go, but it's another team to get very excited about and a great representative to bring them in as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and touch on their new roster. You already said it, Aviator, and Jonathan and all of them. I mean, I've seen them compete. I've seen them in several other weeklies, just tournaments around the scene. They've consistently made it to finals, grand finals, losers final. They've made bracket runs. No matter where they are, they seem to just kind of shine. And whoever is in the second B group, beware of them for sure.
Short Circuit Gaming. This is obviously a big name. We all know them. We've all seen them perform very well in the past, and now coming out with an updated roster that's just going to be even stronger than ever. Well, they're strong before. For a level up for this group is just unbelievable. I don't see them finding a lot of competition in this league. We'll have to see who else drops by in Pool B, but be ready to play hard early.
Definitely Short Circuit Gaming. One of the larger names that we've seen in this scene, in the bubble scene, and that we've got here tonight. But it's time to move on to our third team, our third announcement of the night. Take it away.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Who Colin, and I'm a content creator for Red Crown Esports. Main Rocket League play other games, but Red Crown Esports, the team, should not be taken lightly. Thanks, MPL, for having me invited. In the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Red Crown Esports will be competing in Pool C, Slot 5. Now, back to the caster's desk.
And a little note to everyone that this is not the OCE Red Crown team. They're not going to be making the jump across the Pacific. They do have an NA roster, despite maybe not being quite as well known. But that's why they're here. They're here to show their stuff. And I think the casters can agree we'll be ready to see quite a little bit from them.
Exactly. Holding that Red Crown name, there's an expectation to live up to a little bit. It's a solid org with that OCE team, as you mentioned. But Wes, Pyros, and Milio, the roster here for Red Crown, they're looking to make a name for themselves and going to be really entertaining. Again, sounding like a broken record here, but we'll fill in the spaces as we go. Behind the scenes, we don't even know what's coming when, so we'll have to see who fills into what spot. But I'm really excited to see Red Crown go at it. It's always nice to see orgs continue to branch out here. We know that Red Crown is based here in the US, so having that team appear in this league with so many other big names is going to get that specific roster more airtime and more experience.
Yeah, and I've seen Red Crown around as well. They appear in different ways. They've had different rosters in the past, and those rosters have actually been quite successful. This one, I don't see in any way that it would be as it would be unsuccessful. They would do a good job. They're here with Untamed in that pool C, so they're going to be doing some. They're going to have to working with them and kind of fighting them along the way. But I believe it'll take. They're not going to be just a pushover. They're definitely going to have the ability to come out on top in that. If whoever the rest of the teams will be, they will have that ability.
Anytime you see an unknown factor, it's always a toss up. There's always a lot of speculation. We don't know much about the roster. We know a good bit about the org. They have a reputation in Oceania by having a consistent top 16 RLCS team, and that's not an easy thing to do. So if they run their NA scene anything like they run their Oceania scene, that alone, you should be able to expect some kind of show off that, hey, we can perform in both regions.
Yeah, solid foundation is crucial to any team's success in the long run, and it certainly looks like the team out at Red Crown Esports is always going to have that. For the final team in our first segment, it's going to be rounding out this beginning part of the show, but it's certainly not going to be a sleeper pick. Let's see who it is.
What's up, guys? I'm Six Fitzy with Naptown United. I am very grateful being signed as a content creator with them. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, all of that. I would like to thank Melon Patch League for being invited. But what you're all waiting for here in the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Naptown United will be competing in Pool B, Slot 5. Now back to the caster's desk.
So Naptown, our first team that's going to be dropped into Pool B alongside Short Circuit Gaming. And a little thing about Naptown, I'm glad to see them here. I actually played in one of the tournaments that they were in yesterday, and I'll brag a little bit. Put up a decently good fight. I'm only a GC1, but Naptown is clearly a very talented squad. They're going to give a Short Circuit a real fight.
Yeah, I like your call as well. This isn't a team that you want to necessarily be sleeping on. And we can take a look at the pools as well as how they're playing out so far. You can see, like Awash said, Naptown has joined Short Circuit in Pool B, so we finally get to see our first competition. But again, Naptown is not one that Short Circuit is going to want to sleep on, and I want to call out that sign behind Fitzy as well. No clothes beyond this point. I mean, that's pretty optimal sleeping strategy as well. So I feel like Naptown United is pretty prepared to come into the MPL.
Yeah, and I mean, they've had a run in here with Short Circuit before. I'm looking at it here. It was actually under Tactical Banditry 33. They went up against the same bracket as Short Circuit. They went as far as the losers quarterfinals. And then they lost. They didn't lose to Short Circuit, but they were in the same tournament, meaning that whenever they were against them, they did fare a good fight. I mean, they made it to the end of a tournament, but Short Circuit did come out on top. So it's going to be kind of an underdog story for them to try to get in. Naptown, don't sleep on them, but I think that's kind of what they're requesting is for you to nap on them.
And let's see. So we've made it to the end of a tournament that Short Circuit participated in. But also, we've got a Whoosh saying that as a GC1, he put up a fight. I don't know. If a Whoosh is putting up a fight against him, they can't be that. I put him at middle of the road right here, kind of like that old school, Season 9 Ghost Gaming type of character. You can come in, show up, play great, or you can get beat down, and it's going to really be a coin flip, again, on which roster decides to show up. Are we going to be playing great? Or are we going to be playing bad? I don't know them personally, but from the stories y'all are saying, that's about what I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm getting out of them, at least. I could be totally wrong, but that's my vibe.
And I'll add a salt to the wound just a little bit. We actually outshot Naptown. So if that says anything about what their performances are going to be, yeah, you might sleep on them a little bit, but like we're all kind of saying, that's what Naptown wants you to do. They're going to be that underdog pick. Teams are not going to take them as seriously. They might take them a little bit more likely, and that's going to be their time to strike because clearly they are a very talented squad. I'm just not recognized for how good I actually am at this game. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that you were able to compete against them. I don't think any other team has competed against you. They did beat you, so and we all know that you were built different. So Awash, I'm not sure what you would do against Short Circuit Gaming. I think you would win.
Probably. Yeah, hashtag sign Awash. I want to see it in the chat. Let me get on one of these MPL teams. I'll cast it. I'll play it. I'll do it all. I want to be part of everything in season 1.
Maybe if you had teammates.
True. I just need good teammates. That's everybody.
Oh, you did it by yourself.
I just need good teammates.
Yeah. He was by himself, obviously.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. I 1v3 Naptown. But enough about me and my escapades in the Smash GG tournament scene. That is the end of our first segment. We've got our first 4 teams fully announced: Short Circuit Gaming, Naptown United, Red Crown Esports, and Untamed Esports. All very solid teams, but we still got a ton more teams to reveal. Lots of more exciting content creators to hear from, and of course, more banter from the desk. So we're going to take it to a short break. We'll be right back.
Drewski. Mittens. Kia. Spyro. Rani. Derek. Blue Screen. Tenacity. Asfura. Wonder Mike. URLC Season 1. Are you ready?
What's going on, everybody? We are back here with the announcement show of Melon Patch League, and we're going through here announcing each team and the seeding that they received randomly, might I add. So we got some interesting matchups coming away already. We have seen two teams get into the same bracket from the first four announced. That is Short Circuit Gaming and Naptown. We are excited to see who everybody else is going to be matched up again. As you can see, Pool A is empty. Pool C has Red Crown. Pool D with Untamed Esports. Nobody has any opponents quite yet, but Galgan, we've met you already, but a new face to this segment. I'm obviously hosting this time instead of an analyst. This time we have a Vagabond. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then Galgan, you can get into your thoughts on our first segment.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Vagabond. If you guys know me, or if you guys have been around Melon Patch Gaming for any amount of time, you obviously have seen me. I'm a community manager over there. I've casted Apex South for Frost Esports, a couple other Apex organizations I've done work for. I'm also part of the Indie Gaming League. I'm so excited for this. This is absolutely massive, especially being around Melon Patch for as long as I have. I'm just planning to have a whole bunch of fun, and that's exactly what we're all doing here tonight.
He's not a bad manager either.
Yeah, and touching on it really quickly here, the pools that you see, obviously we're going to move kind of quickly through it and get more teams added on, but it'll be interesting to see these matchups that we get, whether these teams have any prior history against each other, what they might do in potential matchups during the league. Again, myself, Galgan, and Atomic down below me from the previous segment as well. I mean, really looking forward to seeing where these teams that we already have get matched up with and who's going to populate Pool A, which remains empty.
Yeah. And A should be pretty, I feel like it might be stacked at the moment because we've already had the two teams, we have a lot of teams coming up. We've got a lot of good ones to still be shown, and, a lot of top prospect teams that could, possibly just take over the league, and who their opponents might be, all that stuff. Who has to go against Untamed, who has to go against Short Circuit still. We've already seen Red Crown and them kind of meet up there. It's going to be quite interesting. It's going to start filling up.
Absolutely. I'm just taking a look at who we have coming up next, and it's going to be some absolute banger of a pool, or a banger of a group that we're getting ready to show you guys here. But yeah, I mean, we have a very interesting first group that we previously announced. So I honestly could not tell you who's coming out of this league a winner, who's coming out a loser, who's going to be competing. It's very hard for me to understand who's going where and who's going to beat who. You never know. I mean, I know we all saw we saw Awash have a couple opinions before, but you never know.
Yeah.
Well, there's our thoughts on our first segment. Now let's get started with our second segment. We have a group of 4 teams coming in. Let's get to the first one.
Yo, what is up, gamers? My name is 60s, and I'm the founder and owner of Valkyrie Array. So we started in 2019 as a Call of Duty, just like player team, group of friends making content. Since then, we've grown to doing COD, Apex, Valorant, and finally Rocket League. We've been having a ton of fun in that. Our current roster is Plum, Exorari, Snove, and Rected as sub. And we also have the privilege of having Ignited as our manager. You can follow us on all social platforms as Valkyrie Array. And we're all super excited and want to thank MPL for and the sponsors for putting on the event. Without further ado, in the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Valkyrie Array will be competing in Pool D, Slot 3. Now back to the caster's desk.
Valkyrie Array coming in Pool D, Slot 3. Galgan, what's your thoughts? We finally got a matchup for Untamed.
Oh, and I'm loving it. I told you before we got into this segment, it's all about the content. And these two teams have a show match, a best of 7 show match that is happening in about 24 hours.
Hey,
You
thanks. Let's
can't
go.
write a better preview to the quality of competition that's
Oh,
going
well.
to come to the MPL here. You
All right.
want to be sure to tune into that one because these two
Oh, yeah.
teams ending up in the same group with each other, it's a match made
Thanks.
in heaven.
Yeah, and I'm
right,
looking
I
at
will
it
catch
now.
you later.
They've
Thanks for
been
having me.
competing in the month of January, this month rather, and they've done quite a good job. They're going against teams like the Red Crown Wolves who are in here, Buccos who made day 3 of our OCS. They placed second there, just short of first place, losing only to Buccos, beating out Red Crown, beating out Empire Esports and a few other teams, Special Forces and K Frost's team, Comeback Season. All of those guys, they've done a phenomenal job of keeping relevancy within the bubble scene, making sure that they stay competitive, whatever it takes, really. And to see them going against the people they're going to be having a show match against is going to be quite a spectacle. I think I'm going to be really happy with what kind of happens here in the next little bit.
Absolutely. I'm not too familiar with Valkyrie Ray, but I have heard of very good things about them. They have a very high-powered offense, and like we said, Galgan, you were just saying them, and you said Naptown. They're competing in a couple hours.
The Untamed Esports, their Group D counterparts there.
Correct. So if you guys want a little, if y'all want a little preview of that matchup that we're going to be seeing in the MPL, definitely go ahead and check out that show match. I know I am.
Yeah.
That is really cool, Galgan. I know you were saying during the commercial break, looking at the list that we had in front of us, you said straight up, I hope they're in the same group because we have a storyline there. We have that show match coming up, and you got your wish, man. You called it directly. That is awesome.
Yeah, I gotta love it. I mean, it writes itself. The script is there. MPL, obviously, we're full disclosure, we're not writing a script here. Don't come at me for that comment. But listen, again, it's just fantastic. I'm always a proponent of more Rocket League, especially when it comes to the bubble scene, and it's just great to see.
Yeah, but it'll kind of continue down, and I think Scully here, we have quite a little bit of an update on our second one, right?
Absolutely. Moving on now, we've got Valkyrie Array Pool D Seed 3. Now moving on to our next guest, introducing the next team on our list.
Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Daly. I'm a Coast Guard veteran, content creator for Circuitry Gaming. I stream on Twitch at USCG Daily. Come hang out for a few laughs. There will definitely be some drinking. Major shout out to Woos and Volts for inviting us in. The inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, baby. In Pool B, Slot 2, Circuitry Gaming will be competing. Be electric, baby. Back to the caster's desk. All right, thanks.
Galgan, you're talking about the script writing itself, right? Like we can't plan this stuff out as well as it has been. Pool B has both Short Circuit Gaming and Circuitry Gaming. He leaves the desk saying be electric. This is going to be an electrifying pool.
That was a message.
Yeah, electrifying to this being the group of death in a sense, because my goodness, the quality of teams that are in Group B right now for this league, it is scary. And listen, I want to make a call back here. I know Awash hosting the first segment talked about losing in that match to some of the players we talked about before. I had the displeasure to some of losing by about 20 goals in a 2v2 match to Lunar and Peep. So I witnessed firsthand how good these players are on Circuitry, and my goodness, it's so hard to pick a favorite, but no matter where Circuitry ended up, I was going to be a big fan of them, and I can't wait to see them play.
Yeah, but I mean, you just kind of look at their record. They've went 3-2 against the series in Short Circuit Gaming. They've faced against teams like DVS and the USO Experience. They've won several tactical banditry tournaments as well as the championship. There, they've gone against was it Buckos here in recent matches. They went toe to toe against them. This is a team that will fight. This team has the ability to win the entire thing. They're gonna put on quite a show, and it could be going against a team like Naptown and just anybody else. I mean, they really will. They're gonna put on a show, and it's gonna be quite amazing to watch them.
Circuitry Gaming, again, I'm going to bring it back to, if you have been around Melon Patch for a while, there is a long history between us and Circuitry Gaming, and it is so exciting. Like we just said, we have Short Circuit and Circuitry Gaming. I mean, only sparks can fly at this point in this pool. It's going to be absolutely insane. And if I'm not mistaken, the current Circuitry Gaming roster was signed as Fast and Furious. So if you guys are at all familiar with the Fast and Furious roster from the bubble scene, you might have seen them over at Frost Esports competing in their Naptown United series. That is the same team. They were just signed not too long ago. I cannot wait for this group.
So there you have it. Circuitry Gaming coming in Pool B, seed number 2. And guys, this is why we have the clash of the circuits. We got 2 of the Titans coming in the same pool from the get-go. Gonna have early competition. Early sparks are gonna fly. But this is not all that we have to announce. Moving on to our next team.
Hi, everybody. I am Woos. I am owner, founder, and CEO over at Melon Patch Gaming, Dire Media Solutions, as well as here at the MPL alongside Volts. Very happy to have you guys all on board. Thank you so much for coming to view. As far as a little shout out, if you want to, I stream every now and then. If you want to watch me, Short King Woos on Twitch. Other than that, though, happy to announce for Team Revenge to join us here for the league in Pool A, Slot 3. Thank you very much.
Team Revenge in Pool A, Slot 3. Finally getting some action in Pool A. They haven't seen any teams coming in. And note that not every org was able to send us an owner or a creator. So we will be having step-in staff from other places coming to announce certain teams. And that's why you have our wonderful owner coming in for that one. But Galgan, go ahead and take it away. What's your thoughts on Team Revenge?
Yeah, like you were saying with the announcements here as well, it shouldn't downplay from the fact that all of these teams deserve their spot in this league. And I'm really excited to see what comes of this Revenge side. I've heard a little bit of the players, but not seen a whole lot personally. I'm ready to be surprised by anybody that comes into this league. And obviously now that we've got our first team in Pool A, there's opportunity for every single following team reveal to have that potential matchup. What are these teams going to look like against each other? Take that deep dive. All you analysts in chat can join us alongside and try and pick apart these matchups before they happen. I'm excited though to see Revenge go at it for sure.
Yeah, and again, they competed in multiple tournaments throughout the past month. They're going against teams like Lights Out and Power and Prestige. They've got the experience there when they need it to, have said we played against them. We've made sure that, we study our play style against them so that we know what to do when moving forward. And this tournament and this league is going to be just another experience for them to apply what they've learned and continue forward.
Absolutely. Team Revenge, I'm super excited to see them compete. I'm excited to see who's going to be in their pool because we haven't really seen anybody fill up Pool A, except for them so far. So let's see who is going to compete with them. It could be, who knows? I guess we're going to have to find out. Scully, what do you got?
Well, that's our thoughts for Team Revenge coming into fill the first slot in a thus far empty pool. We look to see their opponents coming up. Let's see if our next one is going to give them an opponent.
Oh, hey. Oh, I'm back again. How's it going, guys?
God damn
it. So we're back with Rain Esports this time. Appreciate you guys watching still. And once again, back into Pool A to go against Team Revenge in slot number 4 is Rain Esports. Thank you guys so much for joining us here at the MPL.
So just like that quickly, we have another addition into Pool A. Galgan, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at the pools, how they played out through two segments of the reveals, it's Red Crown sitting there in Pool C, the only team left alone, Revenge and Rain now, right next to each other in Pool A. Again, these pools are only going to get more and more interesting as the sheet gets fully filled out here, because we've still got 12 teams that need to find their spot, and I don't think there's a really easy spot for any of them to fit in. I think that Rain Esports, an org that's been around running some community tournaments here and there, hosting rosters of their own, they can definitely take some surprising victories in Pool A, but still looking forward to seeing who their opponents are. Obviously, we'll have to stick around until the end of the show to find out.
Yeah, and Base, Sato, Carved, those three, they do a phenomenal job of competing in other tournaments, and just like they went against Revenge recently. And Revenge did come out on top 4-2. That just kind of shows that it's not like Rain Esports can't score on them, and it's not like Revenge will just completely demolish them. So they're definitely going to be wanting some payback there. They're going to be wanting to go against their opponents here in this rank or in this A pool, and come out with a vengeance. Try to take a win from them real quick after they were robbed at 30.
I'm trying to find a new way where the sun's shining down on my face. I'm running away. You're in a toxic relationship. Time to be free.
All right, everyone. Yes, I am back. I'm still Mr. Bepic. Or wait. Oh, they actually fixed it this time. Let's go. Awash. My name is Awash. We're back for our third segment of the MPL Reveal Show. And who is this lovely gentleman that we have to diagonal from me?
Well, clearly it says I don't know who this. However, my name is an odd fellow. I'm actually the esports intern for Melon Patch Gaming, as well as a budding Rocket League caster. So I'm really excited that I can be part of the show tonight, and I'm really excited to see where this league ends up going. These pools are looking absolutely insane so far.
Well, we're glad to have you, odd fellow. And yes, let's take a quick look and remind everybody about what these brackets have shaken up to look like so far. And Coach Scully, if you want to break down the first two pools for us, take it away.
Man, this is looking to be a great event. And remember, the format's going to be each pool is going to have each team is going to have a best of 7 every week in their pool. So, they're not playing a lot, every week. There's not a lot of games to play. You really got to make your name and make it fast. So the competition is going to be fierce, and each series is going to be tough. And right there, what I really want to look at is the Electric Pool B. That's what I'm dubbing it, guys. I can't find any other names. Circuitry Gaming and Short Circuit Gaming in the same pool. Of course, we got Revenge and Rain Esports coming in Pool A together, but the two titans here in B, Naptown United, is just sitting there. Like we said, they're a sleeper team. They could come and show up, but they've got a lot of resistance to push through.
Yeah, no, as good as Valkyrie and Untamed and Revenge and Rain and all them are, Pool B definitely is looking like my pool of death so far. Just because the powerhouses of Short Circuit and Circuitry, everyone who's been watching any of the RLCS play-in stuff has seen how well these teams have performed, albeit still falling just a little bit short of the ultimate goal. But those two teams are going to be extremely, extremely stacked coming into this league. Now, that's not to say that Pool A couldn't shake up to be pretty bad in and of itself as well, bad being bad for everyone that's in it, because Rain and Revenge are no joke either.
Absolutely. I mean, we keep going back over and talking about Pool B, but Pool A, I don't know. It might come through the back doors, and those two teams that we see there right now could surprise a lot of people. Two teams with very high-powered offenses, with very mechanical play styles. But yeah, I do believe that Pool of Death is a good name for Pool B. I'm super excited to who we're going to have being announced in this third group. So we're just going to send it back up to my boy Awash. You guys see him right above me to announce our next team.
Yep, enough talk about the teams that we already know where they're sitting. Let's reveal a couple more teams. In this next org, they're a little bit near and dear to my heart. Let's see who it is.
I don't know why, but I feel like I keep on showing up around here. How's it going, guys? Woo's back at you. I've already said thanks enough. I think we're past that, but I will say thanks to Escape Velocity for coming up and playing in the MPL. Adderolin has been a longtime friend, especially from the IGL casting days. Fantastic to have them. Tartan, JK, it's Woos again. I just noticed that. That's hilarious. Regardless, thank you to Adderolin, the owner over there, for sending his team over. Regardless, though, they are going to be in Pool C, Slot 2. Thank you very much, guys.
So, Escape Velocity, I've represented them in the Indie Gaming League for, I think it was last summer, and then I got busy with the school team and all of that stuff. But still, a fantastic org, so much fun to be a part of. But the desk, it's important to note that this is not the Escape Velocity team that most people might recognize.
No, it is not. They just recently got a new roster over the last 2 weeks, is what I believe I've been informed. So we have no idea what to expect from these guys. It's very newly put together, but with everybody who normally gets a new rosters, they like to think of themselves as upgraded from their previous form. And what I like to see right now is Pool C actually having a second team, and Red Crown's got some competition. And yeah, funny story. I actually played and ranked with Adderall, the owner of Escape Velocity today, and I can only tell because he had it was the real one because he had the Escape Velocity logo next to his name. So yeah, I'm excited to see him. I've known Adderall for a while, a fellow caster in the scene, and also doing some great work. And to see his org grow and to come into a place like this where we take the best of the semi-pro regions and throw them at each other for some money, it's going to be very interesting. Oddfellow, what do you think?
So I'm thinking that even though this is a different Escape Velocity roster than has been seen in the past, this combination of Tartan, Diamond, and Zip is still going to be something to watch out for throughout the course of this league. And as you were saying, Red Crown finally having a little bit of competition there in that C pool. So between these two teams, it's going to be interesting to see what other teams end up coming into this Pool C, because I think Pool C might end up being the one that's kind of like, we don't really know who any of, like, these aren't like the biggest name teams on the league, but it may be some of the best Rocket League played in the league. This pool could end up being this pool could end up being the closest out of all the pools, just in terms of where everyone's at and the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? The kind of intensity that these teams are going to play with.
Absolutely. Intensity is the perfect way to describe what we have going on in this Pool C. I'm like, I got to agree with you. It's going to be super intense. It's going to be insanely competitive. And, we always talk about the big names and, who's going where and the big signings and stuff, but we never really talk about who's actually going to be really competing with each other. And that's kind of what I'm excited to see here in Pool C. But, I've seen Tartan and Diamond play together, but I have not seen Zip. So I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to Escape Velocity. And back to your point, Scully, I actually happened to run into Adderall and ranked just about a month ago. I just randomly ran into him. We were playing twos together. Of course, we won on his back because he deadlifts buildings for a living, but I digress. So we're going to bring it back to Awash, who is standing by, ready to transition to the next team.
Yes, I can confirm that Adderall does in fact lift buildings pretty basically for a living. He may as well get paid to do that too, as well as run Escape Velocity. Tons to carry on his back. But enough about Escape Velocity. We still do have tons of other teams to talk about, to introduce. Let's see who's up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the halfway point in tonight's show. We appreciate you bearing with us through the meme names and some fun. As expected, live shows don't always go exactly how they're supposed to. But I'm excited to be here as the co-commissioner of the MPL. If you missed the beginning of the show, we hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far. So without further ado, I don't want to mess this up. I'm the one who wrote the script. In the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, New Haven Esports will be competing in Pool C, Slot 3. Now back to the caster's desk.
Yes, New Haven Esports finally getting that third team into Group C. We had just one at the beginning of this segment, and now we've gotten back-to-back teams. And to bounce off of what Oddfellow was kind of getting towards earlier, I have to agree. I think that this bracket, or this particular group in the MPL, could actually be one of the largest toss-ups throughout the regular season.
Yeah, it's the reason that I say that is because like I was saying, these are the orgs that haven't exactly made a big name for themselves, and so therefore the players on them haven't really made a big name for themselves either. So that's what everyone's going to be trying to do. They're going to be playing with that on their mind of, if I can come out of this and if I can come out of this pool and really move on in this event, then maybe I can start getting some names going for myself, for my teammates, and all that kind of thing. Plus, these are the rosters that are I think, in my opinion, the least likely to have changed much over the course of the last 12 months or so. So these are the guys that are going to probably have the most chemistry. And I think that's going to be consistent with a lot of the teams that end up getting placed into the C pool.
I like those notes there. And one of my favorite things is how Volt says, I don't want to mess this up, and then names the wrong team.
Correct.
True. Very true. Gotta call him out for it.
It could not. I'm sorry. He's my boss. I can't like not let him notice that. Anyway, yeah, New Haven. I've heard their name thrown around. I've heard good things about them. I don't think I've heard anything bad. And to know somebody's name when you're not immediately in the scene all the time, as I've taken a little bit of hiatus from the bubble scene lately and only really got back into casting as the RLCS gigs started coming back up. To know their name means something good, especially, from where I'm sitting. I don't know a lot of teams' names just off the bat unless I've personally seen them on my channels and or in tactical banditry when I'm casting it. So that has to mean something good about them, right? I'm expecting, like you were saying, Oddfellow, a lot of toss-ups, a lot of really good competition coming out of this Pool C. This is starting to shape up. Those middle-of-the-road teams are really starting to group up right here. All of them, not necessarily no names, but names that we all know and we've all heard of, but not at that top level. And like I think it was Vagabond, you said, is where a lot of the big competition really comes in.
Absolutely. I mean, the competition, I think, at this point, when you're at this level of Rocket League, isn't about the big name. It's about the player holding the controller or the occasional person on keyboard and mouse. I could not tell you who's coming out of Group C with the number 1 seed and who's gonna come out with the number 5 seed. New Haven, I don't know a whole lot about them. I did get to watch them play on Tactical Banditry, where Scully was casting. Obviously, I believe they did win the series that I got to catch of theirs, so I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to bring to the table, what they're going to bring to Pool C, and I'm ready to find out who they're going to be competing against.
Absolutely. Well, slowly but surely, these groups are starting to shape up. We'll eventually get some full groups going, and then we'll really have a big discussion on our hands about what we can expect from each of these different groups. I think each one of them is going to end up having their own personality. And going into our next group, into our next team, this is another team that's pretty near and dear to my heart. This was turning out to be a pretty good segment for me to be a host on, but this was the team that I was able to do my first RLCS team broadcast for. Let's see who it is.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Iatomic, the COO at Prestige Esports, and just wanted to go ahead and drop on by, from the back end over to the screen. In the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Prestige will be competing in Pool D, Slot 1. Back to the desk.
So yet another team into Pool D, and I got a chance to look at them back when they were team pickup. They weren't even picked up by Prestige yet, but this team, J, FTM here, now Diaz, Saya, this team has been together for a little bit while now, the whole fall split, and this is starting to become a big winter regional for them, and I think that this is going to be one of the top teams in the entire MPL.
Oh man, this is a good bracket. D is starting to shape up to have Untamed and Prestige in there. We've gotten our second powerhouse, and like you said, each pool gonna kind of get their own identity. A and C right now starting to shape up to be those middle of the road underdog storylines. B, obviously, it's been dubbed the electric pool. I mean, you can't not name it that. And Pool D, though, Prestige, this is an extremely talented roster, an extremely talented team. Like you said, probably one of the top spots in the entire league. And Untamed, a very similar note can be made for them. It's going to be a competitive bracket that they're going to have to go through. And I'm excited to see how this is shaping out. Oddfellow, what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts here is that kind of like what we've been saying, that Prestige might be sneaky one of the better teams that end up coming out here. Just looking at their Wikipedia page and looking at the matches that they've played in their last winter regional event, they 3-0'd KCP and 3-1 Nefarious. Granted, they did end up losing to E United and Torrent, but that's E United and Torrent, two teams that are actively in the RLCS. I mean, for crying out loud, they placed ninth. They placed 9th, 10th, 11th in the qualifier. They were that close, and I think that this is going to be a league where they get to kind of show, hey, we may have been close this one time, but we're getting there. It wouldn't surprise me if in the next, 6 months or so, they end up breaking through that. And then that gives a lot of these other teams the opportunity to play against a team of the caliber of Prestige and see how they can actually hold up. So I think that's going to be something really interesting to see how Prestige performs throughout this league with, obviously the intention of them probably wanting to move on to RLCS still being in the back of their mind.
I mean, absolutely, Mr. I don't know who dis. I couldn't agree more. But yeah, like you said, they absolutely dunked on KCP, and I don't think anybody was expecting that. They obviously fell to E United and Torrent. So I mean, but that is absolutely huge. We might have to move the Pool of Death title down to Pool D just because Prestige Esports is in there. If I had to make an early prediction, I would say that Prestige Esports is probably coming out of Pool D on top.
It could certainly shape up that way, but there's still plenty more teams to maybe give Prestige a run for their money. This is the RLCS bubble team after all, and it is volatile to say the least. Teams are always bouncing up and down and all around, fighting each other for best in the bubble scene and who can really get their shot at RLCS. Before this segment, we've still got one final team to reveal. It's going to be a name that you'll probably recognize if you watch the RLCS, but going to be a slightly different roster representing them. Let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep this one short and sweet. It is my honor to introduce the lady squad from Torrent, the Torrent White team, which will be competing in the MPL for Season 1. They're a personal favorite of mine. I can't wait to support these women in this league and see how they do. They're one of my sleeper picks here, and that's sleeper pick. In the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Torrent White will be competing in Pool B, Slot 4. Now back to the caster's desk.
Our first all-lady squad being announced. That squad is Pads Yi and Jazzy27 that are going to be hanging out in Group D. Group B, a group that already contains Short Circuit, Naptown, and Circuitry Gaming. They're joining into that electric bracket, and my goodness, there's going to be some tough competition, but I think that they're going to be ready for it.
I think so too. Coming from Torrent, right? Like we said, it's not, like you said, it's not the roster that we're all familiar with in the RLCS, but coming from that organization, they're going to put together a skilled team, and to be their women's team, it's just a statement in and of itself to come out here and present yourself in that way. That's a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of entertainment value out of that. And I'm excited to see how competitive they can actually be. I, of course, don't know much about this roster or how they have performed in other events that they've been in, but I don't think I'm alone in saying I'm extremely excited to find out.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking over the Wikipedia that they have. So they participate in the Women's Carball Championship.
Yes.
And for Women's Carball Season 4, they have won all 5 of their last matches. Like, they haven't lost in 5 weeks. And so they are playing absolutely dominant lights out Rocket League right now. And I know that we were just talking about how Pool D could potentially become the Pool of Death. I am shifting it all the way back to Pool B again, and I'm stapling Pool of Death on top of it because there is no way that any group beats this. Like, you have one of the top women's teams in the world, and you heard me right, in the world, playing in that pool right now, in addition to 3 top bubble RLCS teams. Like, this is going to be the most stacked pool that we have. Granted, I still think Pool C is going to be the most competitive. Pool B is going to be the most fun to watch.
Absolutely. Especially, I'm super excited to see what Torrent White can show, kind of show the guys how it's done, especially going into Pool B, which we all know is going to be quite the challenge. And like Oddfellow, you just said, they're on quite the winning streak right now. And Torrent obviously wouldn't do anything except put together an amazing squad for us. That roster, like we said before, Pads Yi and Jazz Kitty, they're absolutely insane. I'm excited to see what they can do. Hopefully they can show the guys how it's done, and I'm predicting
Absolutely.
great things for them.
Certainly, nothing but the best for them and for everybody in that electric group and for all the other teams that we've got. We still got 8 more teams that we've got to reveal tonight. So 2 more segments. We're going to shoot it to a very short break, and we'll be right back.
Drewski. Mittens. Kia. Spyro. Rani. Derek. Blue Screen. Tenacity. Asfura. Wonder Mike. URLC Season 1. Are you ready?
I've been lurking in the shadows. I've been thirsting for a battle. You want beef? I murdered cattle. Who got milk? I serve a mammal. Thoughts are darker than my melanin. Directionless, up to no good, down to sin. Ended up in hell again. Hop into the abyss. Ain't no fear here. Don't be a bitch. Yeah, live like prove you exist. Just saw death. She blew me a kiss. Yeah, time is ticking. One life I live in. Bitch, don't kill my vibe. I'm living. On my way. Fucking mind your business. Now you'll see I'm vicious because I'm a monster, I'm a beast. I'm unconscious when I speak. I fuck karma in my sleep. With no condom, I'm a freak. I've been searching for the light, but it's playing hide and seek. I lost sight of what was right. Now the dark is all I see. Now the dark is all I see. Close your eyes and follow me. Hold my hand, the fall is deep. Yeah. Now the dark is all I see. Close your eyes and follow me. Hold my hand, the fall is deep.
Drewski. Mittens.
So let me catch you. So let me catch you slipping by. Why do I get myself? Why do I get myself caught up in these lonely nights? Oh, why? Why do I get myself? Why do I get myself caught up in these lonely
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MPL Reveal Show. I am back. Obviously, my name is now Vagabond. It is correct this time. Thank you very much, production staff. But I'm joined here by Oddfellow, Mr. Bepik, JK. That is actually Coach Scully. And Awash, who, again, finally has his real name back. But we're back here again with the fourth group of teams. We've already seen our first three: Untamed, Short Circuit, Red Crown, Naptown. We're going to pull up the pools here in a second. Let's go ahead and visit Pool A. We haven't really seen a whole lot of teams go in there yet. We only have Revenge and Rain Esports there right now. So are we going to see another A team? Or are we going to see Pool B get filled up? Oddfellow, what do you think we're going to see?
So I'm thinking the next team or two is probably going to end up in Pool A, just to kind of start filling things up a little bit. And Revenge and Rain have to get some competition here eventually. These are two organizations that have kind of been in bubble scenes for various different esports for a long time. And I think it's really, really cool that they're going to end up playing in this league. And I think they're fielding some really good rosters as well, like Spatial, Steel, and Sarge on Revenge. I am losing Rain, having Base, Sido, and Carved. I think that there's some really good competition heating up in Pool A, but we need to see the other teams that go in there as well.
Yes. Pool A could be another one of those pools where there's maybe not the heavy hitters like Prestige Esports in there, but tons of fierce competition because the teams, they're just going to be so close to each other that the games are going to be good. All the teams are going to want to prove that they're the best team. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty in our predictions and who's going to make it out, maybe who's going to come out in the bottom, maybe who's going to be right there in the middle of the pack. But that's what the teams are going to be there to prove to us that they should be at the top of their pool.
Absolutely. And it's going to be very tough for any of them to do, except for so far maybe Prestige, but they've even got Untamed as a big roadblock for their progress. But right now in Pool A, very little action going on right now, whereas we just have Revenge and Rain waiting on that to get filled up. And this one, I'd like to see the last name on Pool B. You know, Oddfellow, he wants to call it the Pool of Death. I'd like to reserve that for Pool B, as, you know, Prestige is in there. They're pretty deadly, and everybody else looks like they just might die facing them. Whereas Pool B got the, you know, they got the two electricity. That's the electric pool, man. Come on. How is this even an argument at this point? But absolutely, I want to see a little bit more Pool A get filled up, and I want to see the last name in Pool B, see how electric we can get it.
All right, good points all around the casters table. But we are going to hop on to the next team. And, it just got a little bit dark. I think that, okay, anyway, let's just go ahead to the next team.
Hey guys, my name is Nation, and I'm here on behalf of the MPL. Tonight, I will have the special honor
to introduce the Lights Out in their position for the first season here for MPL. And without further ado, in the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Lights Out will be competing in Pool A, Slot 1. Now back to the caster's desk.
All right, Lights Out. There you have it. That roster is going to be Sass, Kev Pert, Coco Ice. The sub will be Striding, and Ken Peach is guiding them through it all. Ken Peach, he's a name that's been around for a long time, so I'm excited to see what him and his Lights Out squad is going to be able to do. Sass and Kev Pert, I don't know a whole lot about. However, Coco Ice I know is absolutely filthy. So that's going to be a very exciting team to watch, and we all got our wish. Another Pool A team has been filled.
Yeah, and this roster is one that I've seen a couple of times. I've casted for the tactical Bandits on Wheels tournaments, and Lights Out shows up for those relatively frequently. So I've had a chance to see how they perform. They're a very, very strong team. Most people in the Rocket League community will recognize Kev Pert from some of his earlier Rocket League tutorial videos. A lot of them are how newer players start learning how to really play the game. But he's actually a pretty decent on-field player himself. Like there's a reason that he's able to be out there and make those tutorials. So I think that this is going to be a really, really interesting addition to that Pool A with Rain and Revenge. So it's going to be really interesting to see who else fills that out, and if Lights Out is able to, turn the lights out on the competition there in Pool A.
My only qualm with this Lights Out team is that they didn't make it into that electric group just to keep the imagery and like the whole electric thing going. It would have been perfect. It was a match made in heaven, and it didn't happen. I should probably blame Bolts. It was random, but I blame Bolts still.
It's always Bolts.
It's always his fault. Mr. Commissioner, I don't know. But seriously, this Lights Out squad is kind of, they go under the radar a lot of the time. But this is a team that's been together in its current roster, just about a whole year. So this team, they're going to be probably the most familiar with their teammates and themselves and how they want to play, that a lot of these teams that maybe are having relatively newer rosters or who have made changes over the past couple weeks or months. So Lights Out, they'll probably fly under the radar a little bit, but don't underestimate them because they've got tons of quality.
Lights Out. That's a big name. They've been around for a very long time, and I have heard a lot about them. I've seen them play in TB every once in a while. They continue to put up results, and I'm with you, Awash. Like, to see them in Pool B in the electric pool, that would have been perfect. The seedings are completely randomized. All the pools, all the seedings are completely randomized. The fact that we even have an electric bracket is luck in and of itself. An act of God would have been required to continue that imagery, but unfortunately he's not on our side today. But Lights Out, maybe he will be on their side. It seems like they're a pretty strong team put into a sleeper pool. So hey, maybe we've got a second little area of death where we're going to have a strong team just kind of rule over the middle class. But again, these sleepers, anything can happen with them. They can come out and show something strong and unexpected, or they can just fall asleep on us. You'll never know. And I'm excited to see how that ends up playing out.
Absolutely. Great points all around the table. I'm excited for Lights Out. Like we've been saying, they've been around for a long time. That Pool A, is getting super, super competitive. But enough about Lights Out. We're gonna move on to our next team, which might have a couple familiar faces. So without further ado, Nation, why don't you go ahead and announce the next team?
Hey guys, Nation, I'm back here as I'm an organizer here at the MPL, and I have one more final announcement to make. Is inside the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Psyched Gaming will be competing in Pool C, Slot 1. Now back to the caster's desk.
Oh, Pool C filling up, and Psyched Gaming is going to be taking another one of those spots. We're going to pull the pools up in just a moment here. But Pool C is Psyched Gaming, Escape Velocity, New Haven Esports, and Red Crown. For those of you who don't know, Psyched Gaming, that roster is Ant, JJ, Fours, and Monk Jr., who is actually a former Melon Patch player. So maybe he'll get some playing time here in MPL, but I'm super, super excited for this roster to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I was going to point out is the last time that I saw Ant and Monk Jr. playing together, they were playing under the guise of Melon Patch Jr., I believe was the name of that squad. So I know that the two of them have been playing together for a very long time. They're a deadly, deadly duo on the pitch. And I'm really excited to see how they're able to fit in with JJ and Fours being on the active roster as well. Obviously, Monk Jr. just being the sub for that. But either way, this Psyched Gaming roster is insane. And again, this Pool C is shaping up to be one of the most competitive in the league so far.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubts that this is a very solid squad, and maybe a little bit of favoritism shown towards the former Melon Patch players that they're kind of put in one of those sleeper pools. They may have a easier time of it considering the relative competition around them, but they're still going to have to perform very well and really have to earn their spot against some of these larger teams like Escape Velocity. This is going to be a tough pool for sure, but I'm sure that Ant, Monk, Fours, and JJ, they're gonna want to prove themselves.
Absolutely, and I'm extremely excited to see Monk Jr. coming in here, even if it is only as a sub, even if he sees no play time. You know, I'd love to see him get on the field and show some of what he had when he was one of our players. That's an extremely exciting idea in my head. But even with no play time, to come in here, come back to where come back home, if you were to say, and come and compete in our areas. It's a fun time. But Psych, like you said, joining that Pool C, joining that really competitive bracket with Escape Velocity, New Haven, and Red Crown. Again, all these names are names that we know, but we just haven't seen enough of them in the top areas of our tournaments. I know Psyched has been in similar tournaments as Short Circuit and as in Rain, as I saw in some Liquipedia tournaments, and they've actually came lower than both of those teams in the tournaments that I was able to research. So still, even in the MPL names that we've already announced, they're coming in a little bit on the lower side. So I'm not expecting too much from the roster, even though I am excited to have them. But as I say very often when I'm casting, I love nothing more than to be proven wrong.
Absolutely, always fun. Psyched Gaming, the newest, obviously the newest announced team to be in MPL. But before we move on to our next team, we did hold a little giveaway here at MPL. It was our first ever giveaway. It is a glitch starter pack. Psyched Gaming is actually the community that ended up winning the giveaway, and SRII is the winner of that community giveaway. Congratulations to Sorry. Please go ahead and DM Volts to claim your prize. He will get you set up with all the information that you need. Now, enough about Psyched Gaming. We're going to move on to our next one. And I'm confused about who's doing this one. So let's just kind of figure it out as we go.
Oh, hey guys. Sorry, I was finishing my. Yeah. Well, hi, I'm back once again. This time announcing the placement for 1,000 Dreams. They're gonna be placed in Pool A, Lot 5. A is really starting to heat up, and we love to see it. Regardless, thank you very much, casters.
1,000 Dreams Esports. Let's take a look here. That is Zenith, Matt, and Zinvez. Their sub is going to be Insanity, coached by Felipe and managed by Somber. I don't know too much about this team. I have seen Zenith play, and I do know that he is very good. He's a very good first man, very good on offense. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on 1,000 Dreams.
So just looking at their Liquipedia page, their most recent tournament placements and everything over the course of the last year and a half or so they haven't gone outside the top 3 in any event that they've been in. Their most significant loss probably being against a team that was formerly known as Integrity Academy, who obviously has now transitioned into being NXT on the RLCS. So they have some experience playing against some of those higher level teams as well. So I think that this is going to definitely be a sleeper team in this tournament. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they shape up against the rest of that A pool.
Yeah, and this is a roster that's only been around for maybe 2.5 months. So they've got a little bit of playing time under their belts, but there are plenty of teams that have been around a little bit longer. So we'll see if that starts to affect them at all. And maybe they'll just start to they'll start peaking and they'll pick up a huge head of steam and just trudge through all of Group A, because that's, again, going to be a very, very close group.
I agree. Group A starting to shape out a little bit similarly to Group C, and that is just very, very closely matched middle of the road squads coming in here, and Thousand Dreams is no exception. Now, a lot of the teams here in the MPL don't even have Liquipedia pages, and for them to actually have one, that shows something for their for how reputable they can be. Look, like you said, looking at their Liquipedia page, they're coming in the middle of the road in very many tournaments that they place in. Even some of the smaller tournaments coming in at third place, taking a third place in a tactical banditry. So that's pretty high. You know, tactical banditry normally pulls in a lot of teams and a lot of very skilled teams here in the bubble scene, and a lot of teams that we have here in the MPL so far announced. So there is definitely some sparks of excellence that they have and that they've been able to show, but just not able to put it together in a consistent motion and a consistent time frame. So I'm excited to see what they can do, and hopefully they can find a way to hold their own here in the MPL.
Absolutely. I mean, coming in third, fourth, even fifth place in tactical banditry is nothing to kind of turn away from. I mean, I've seen teams like the old team Queso has competed there. Psyched Gaming is constantly over there. Formerly Fast and Furious, now part of Circuitry Gaming, always competing over there. And so these teams have competed against each other, if not teams that are extremely similar to them. So 1000 Dreams, you might not know the name, but again, do not sleep on them because we don't know what they're capable of just yet. But speaking of a team that I believe is going to be kind of a sleeper pick, we're going to go ahead and announce our next team. And yeah, go ahead. What's up next?
Oh God. Oh, sorry guys. Again, I've caught me in the middle of something. How's it going? Formerly known as Anomaly Esports, Noxum Esports is joining the MPL here in Pool B, Slot 1. We're extremely excited to have them, and as Vagabond was saying, most likely going to be a sleeper team. Excited to see where they end up. Thank you guys so much.
Who keeps inviting that guy? Anyway, Noxum
What a weirdo.
Noxum Esports, that is Anomaly Esports. I was kind of suspicious of that because of Darklight. I thought he might have just found a new squad to play with. But Darklight has been around that organization for a long time. His teammates are Mutinate and Talos. Rayverse will be their sub. Zector is their coach, and leading the way is Merked. And Pool B is finally filled out. The electric circuit, or the electric pool, the pool of death, whatever you want to call it. But Pool B officially filled out. At B1, we got Noxum Esports, B2, Circuitry Gaming, B3, Short Circuit Gaming, B4, Torrent White, and B5, Naptown United. What a pool, and what are your guys' predictions for this pool?
So just right now, this second, I want to say that I really want to see Noxum come out of this, just because out of all 5 teams in this pool, Noxum, formerly Anomaly, is probably one of the lesser known out of all 5 teams, and therefore I think they're going to come into this with the most to prove in terms of who they're coming up against in this pool. And I think that that's definitely going to drive some of that competitiveness across the entire roster. So it'll be interesting to see if they kind of use that to their advantage and they end up potentially just running themselves straight through the pool.
I gotta agree with Oddfellow that Noxum is one of the lesser known names, not really a household name yet in the in the RLCS bubble or in the Rocket League bubble scene. But it's a great opportunity for them to maybe take down some Titans in the MPL and put up a couple good performances to, even if they don't make it to the top 1 or 2 spots, there's still that play in as well that they could potentially get into playoffs with. But just to get a couple great matches and show that they can hang in with some of these larger teams, I think really that's what Noxum is here for, to get that experience against better teams that maybe otherwise wouldn't give them the time of day.
Look, Anomaly has been around the Tactical Banditry, which is one of the premier bubble scene tournaments that are around right now. Of course, excluding us, because, we're just coming out and we're gonna take that scene by storm. But Anomaly has been all around Tactical Banditry for a while now, being named Noxum. They have performed very, very well. It's what very few teams that I specifically memorize and specifically look for whenever I go to cast for TB, and Anomaly is one of them. They're always in that top 6, top 8. They are always popping up in streamed slots. And Tactical Banditry, they don't open up streamed slots until later on into the event, later on into the tournament. They're always pushing through. They've gone many games against Short Circuit Gaming, and they've won some, lost some. They are an extremely talented roster, extremely talented team, and I'm extremely excited to see them here, making this pool be even more electric. The talent in here is unending, and it's what else can you say? It's gonna be electric.
It's electric, yeah.
Boogie, boogie,
boogie. All right, guys. That is all we have for our 4th group of teams. We're going to be sending it back over to commercial in just a moment here. Just really quick, want to thank all of you guys for coming out and supporting MPL. We can't wait to see you guys around when we do kick games off. Again, sorry from Sick Gaming. Make sure that you DM Volts, get your prize from the glitch giveaway. Congratulations, my guy. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and send it over to commercial.
I kept on reeling. I long to a feeling, so why would I keep you when there was no reason? I guess I don't need to take my time to save my pride again. There's a place I'm right for the sake of just making amends. We could have had it all, but our tears are gonna fall. Maybe I'm not enough for you, or maybe I'm not enough to prove. Maybe it's just time for us to close this chapter. Close this chapter.
Fill me out with your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Safe and is red till you discover it is within each other to forgive and make amends. If I had known then or what I know now, I wouldn't have said what I said. I took the long road, thought I'd be better on my own. Sometimes what's right.
Well, a wise person once said that good things come in threes. Little did they know. They were talking about me being your host for the MPL Reveal Show. We're back with our fifth and final section of our MPL Reveal Show tonight, and we have 4 more teams that we still are very excited to reveal. But first, let's catch you all up on what just happened in that previous segment. We were able to fill out Pool B, and a lot of the other pools, they're getting super close, and we're going to find out those final contenders very soon.
Yeah, Pool B finally filling itself out, that electric pool, as people want to call it, because of short circuit and circuitry there. That, I think, is going to be the pool everyone's going to have their eyes on. But I'm going to keep saying, depending on who fills out this Pool C, with that final spot there in C4, Pool C is still my pool to watch personally, because I think that is going to be the most competitive out of all of them.
Absolutely. Pool D. I'm excited to see what final 2 teams we're going to have joining at Prestige, Valkyrie, and Untamed. An absolute titan there at the D1 spot. Pool B, absolutely electric. Not, no pun intended, but also pun intended there. We have Torrent White. We haven't really been talking about the ladies as much. We don't really know what they're going to bring to the table, considering they have been on quite the win streak over at the Women's Carball Championship. But Pool C looking really competitive, looking really tight and closely knit in regards to skill. Pool A, I think right now is kind of the wild card pool for me. So I'm excited to see what everybody is going to be bringing to us.
I'm in complete agreement with both of you. We've talked about Pool B relentlessly. We beat it with a stick because it's just a titan of a pool right now. It is stacked to no end. Noxum, formerly known as Anomaly, which has had experience playing at the level that they're in. Torrent with that women's carball team that, we don't know, us personally, we don't know the skill level of women's carball. We don't know what to expect from that, but being a big worldwide association, I would like to expect a lot of great things, and for them to come in here and really, like you said earlier, Vagabond, to show the men how it's done. Naptown United is a name that we know is performance. I might be putting them a little bit lower on that pool. D Prestige, we're looking for them some more competition. We've got Untamed, which is looking like it might be a roadblock for Prestige, but I'm not going to say that they're going to be the ones that take them out. So we want to see a little bit more competition to come in the way of D. A and C, though, looking very competitive. A lot of evenly matched people. Of course, lights out up there in Pool A, looking like it's going to be dramatically in favor of them as long as they continue to play with some of the same performance that they've shown to have in the past. And Pool C with Psyched, Escape Velocity, New Haven, and Red Crown just looking for that one last competitor in PL. The Melon Patch League is looking to be epic.
There is tons of fierce competition between all of these teams, regardless of the pool that they're in. And that's what these teams are here for, to get some great experience against high-level teams with some money on the line as well, and just tons of competition to reward all of us who are in the booth or watching at home to just be inspired and excited with some Rocket League action. Let's get to it. Our final 4 teams of the night. Now, this next name, you might recognize them from another region, but they're coming to NA with a brand new roster, and they're ready to compete.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Aurora. We are running under Dracon Esports. I am a player for the main roster that's moving into North America. I do want to say, first off, thank Melon Patch for so much. One, for running the league, and also for us pulling a spot. It means a lot to us. The opportunity itself to be in the org, and then on top of that, we pull a slot in Melon Patch League with just all the great competition is just amazing for us, and really, it's very humbling. And in the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Dracon Esports will be competing in Pool C, Slot 4. Now back to the caster's desk.
So yet another team for
Oh.
Pool C, as that is going to be Red Crown, Escape Velocity, New Haven, Psyched, and finally Dracon Esports rounding out that pool. This is going to be an exciting pool, everybody.
Now, like as we were hinting at before the reveal, if you've been around Rocket League for a while, you've probably heard the name Dracon Esports, but it's more synonymous with that South American region. Obviously, last split, that roster kind of did a lot of damage down in South America, ended up getting picked up by True Neutral to play down there. So in my opinion, these guys have a lot to play for. A, they're playing under a name that a lot of people know, so there's going to be a little bit of pressure in that regard. B, they're bringing Dracon Esports back to North America, and so it's going to be really a really good opportunity for them and this organization to really kind of show what they're made of here in this league that we have with all this other great talent. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity for the organization and the players, and them being in Pool C just once again adds to the level of where that pool is going to be at, and that almost just locks it in for me as being the most competitive pool in the league right now. What do you think about it, Vagabond?
I am super excited to see Dracon Esports back in North America. I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to kind of reestablish themselves and say, hey, we went away for a little bit, but we are back and we're here to make a statement. We're here to compete, especially with having to deal with the likes of Psyched Gaming and Escape Velocity out of that C pool. So having Dracon Esports back in North America is huge. The roster is going to be Aurora, Chancho, Zonar, and their sub is Itsuki. Those are four very talented players. So again, once again, very excited that Dracon Esports is back in North America. Scully, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm extremely excited to see Dracon in here. Don't know much about me and my casting career. I spent the first year of casting in basically casting exclusively South America, and a guy named C Finch puts on a lot of tournaments. A lot of you players know him as you participate in some of his tournaments. He puts on a lot of community tournaments, and in South America, it is those community tournaments are consistently pulling RLCS South American teams, at least from 6th seed going down. So I have a lot of experience casting the name Dracon, and I have a big heart for South America, spending so much time there, and to see the org come here is so exciting. And like you said, they are here to make an announcement for themselves that this is the roster we are bringing back, and this is what we are going to do in North America. It's only a bubble scene team in comparison to the RLCS that they had beforehand, but man, they've been funding an RLCS roster. They've been running an RLCS roster. They know what it takes to get to the next level. They know what it takes to win. And they're in a pool with Red Crown Esports. So this is turning out to be almost the foreign pool, as we have Red Crown from Oceania and Dracon coming up here from Sam, all in the same pool. This is shaping up to be very exciting. I'm keeping a close eye on Pool Seed as the Melon Patch League continues.
Yeah, if we could slap the Mr. Worldwide meme on any one of these groups, it would certainly be Pool A. And I think for Dracon, it's going to be a great opportunity for them to show what they're made of and to prove to the bubble scene that they're coming here to play. But we still got a couple more teams, 2 more groups still that are not complete. Let's see which group is going to get their next team.
All right. I wish I had a bit like that Woos guy. How's it going, everybody? What's good? I'm the co-founder and COO of Empire. We're extremely excited for all the insane Rocket League we're about to see. If you want to learn more about our org, Empire, you can visit empireesports.com. And if you want to see some mediocre Halo and anything but Rocket League, I do not play Rocket League. Check out my Twitch at gooniebag_ with a Z. We just want to give a huge shout out to the Melon Patch for organizing this and giving us a slot. Super happy about that. And in the inaugural season of the Melon Patch Pool D Slot 5. Now back to the desk.
Empire Esports. Not the same roster from a couple months ago, but still an insanely talented roster that they have now. Mizu, Mazo, Crave, Daru as a sub. These are players that are pretty well known throughout the bubble scene. Loads of talent that are here to compete as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've been familiar with the Rocket League bubble scene for any amount of time, you're well familiar with the name Daru. Mizu and Mazu, fantastic players in their own right as well. And so I think that this team is going to be very, very dangerous there in that pool D, which already has Prestige and Valkyrie Array and Untamed as well. So pool D kind of shaping itself up to also be a super competitive pool. So right now, I am all over the place on trying to figure out which of these pools I like the most, but Empire being added into Pool D there, I think is going to be a substantial addition to that group.
Absolutely. Empire Esports, an absolute bomb, in my opinion, of a team to be added in here. Empire Esports, former Gods of the Patch. They won the second ever Gods of the Patch tournament just, I believe it was a little over a year ago at this point. If you guys actually go back, I was actually on that call, which was absolutely insane. So I'm excited for them to be here. They were competing against not, I wouldn't say like high-end bubble teams, but definitely middle of the road bubble teams. So we know that they're super, super competitive and they're super capable of doing amazing things here in MPL. That Group D is super competitive, especially with the addition of Empire Esports.
That's absolutely right. We've got Prestige, Untamed, and now adding Empire. And like our fellow was saying, everybody knows the name Daru. That is a heavy hitter in this scene, and this is just shaping up to be a great pool. So far we've got B and D coming out to be extremely dominant, extremely stacked pools. And I don't know, everybody, we got a kind of consensus that this is it's another roadblock for Prestige, right? Some more, we needed competition for Prestige, and I don't know, what do y'all think? Do we have it?
Oh, I think so for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I am certainly a believer that Prestige is going to have some tough competition. Some pretty storied bubble team names in that group trying to take down now probably one of the top dogs in the entire Melon Patch League. So that group has been rounded up. We still got Group A and Group C. And we've got two more teams left. Or I'm sorry, which one's ignited? A and D. My apologies. A and D still ready to be filled out. We got two more teams left to announce. Which one is going to be up next?
It's going to be Group A that we are finishing out here. Quick self-plug for those of you that don't know, outside of the NPL, what I do here, my name is Volt. I am a Rocket League caster. I work in the OC and SAM region. I also create some content over on my Twitch, TTV Volts RL _. You're welcome to come hang out with me and watch me blame my teammates instead of myself for every mistake they make. But I'm here now to announce the 19th team of the show. Again, this is one I'm really looking forward to. It's an honor to announce them. This is for Team Meteor. In the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Team Meteor will be competing in Pool A and Slot 2. Now back to the casters.
So Group A is the next pool to be filled out, and Team Meteor. We've talked about some storied organizations that we already have here in the MPL. Team Meteor just might be the pick of the bunch, given that they've fielded a Rocket League team for a fairly significant amount of time, but they also host a weekly tournament that has gained some significant traction.
Yeah, no, having Team Meteor involved in this league in any way, shape, or form is huge. And then this roster that they have fielded, I think, is going to be incredible. They're going to have Tide, Big E, Peaceful, Vitali as the coach and sub, and again, just in there, Vitali and Tide, two names again synonymous with the Rocket League bubble scene. So I think that this Pool A is going to be dangerous, and Team Meteor is a absolute home run of an addition to that group.
Absolutely, Team Meteor. They have been around for a long time, so I'm excited to see what kind of message they can send here in the MPL, finally filling up that Pool A slot. Just more competition, in my opinion, for Lights Out to have to deal with. we were talking about how Empire Esports is a bigger roadblock for Prestige Esports. Team Meteors, I believe, is kind of equal in terms of what a roadblock could be for a team like Rain or for Lights Out. So I'm excited to see what they're going to be capable of here in MPL. Team Meteor, welcome in.
Oh man, absolutely. I agree exactly what you said. That's the point I wanted to really get onto right there is Lights Out at the reputation that they're bringing in really did not have anybody that I thought can really compete with that type of reputation, with that type of recognition and the skill that that recognition is expected to hold up to. Meteor might just be that squad, and that's exactly what we needed to see in Pool A. A team that can come in and shake things up and really put their name in the hat to say, you know, maybe, just maybe, there's competition for the top dog.
That there certainly will be. There will be competition all over the place. And finally, we're going to find out our final competitor in the inaugural Melon Patch League. Coming into Group D is going to be our final team, and none other than Volt to reveal them.
It is unfortunately the last team of the night. We're very near the end of the show. We hope you enjoyed this show. Thank you so much for bearing with us through some of the technical difficulties. Behind this, I want to say something. It is Team Synergy headed to Pool D, but let me say this. They deserve a Liquipedia page. We were talking about it behind the scenes. I'm starting it officially here. Get them a Liquipedia page. Somebody do it. But in the inaugural season of the Melon Patch League, Team Synergy will be competing in Pool D, Slot 2. Now back to the caster's desk.
Courtney, Kira, and Sway filling out a very dangerous Pool D, our final team heading into the Melon Patch League, and certainly the last team that we've got for the night. But I think everybody on the desk can agree they certainly are not the least.
Oh, no, not at all. And I think that they should be awarded a Liquipedia page just based off of their logo alone. That was the best logo I've ever seen in the history of Rocket League, and that was fantastic. That was perfect. Also, I do want to point out one of the big names on this roster is Courtney. Courtney has been making a name for themselves in the women's carball scene for a very, very long time, formerly a member of Kansas City Pioneers. So that is a huge name to have on this Synergy roster, and it's going to be interesting to see that kind of veteran leadership on this roster, because I'm a little not as familiar with the rest of the names, but I know that Courtney is going to bring a level of experience and a level of leadership to this roster, which is going to make Synergy absolutely dangerous in that Pool D, which already has teams of the caliber of Prestige, Empire, Untamed, and Valkyrie Ray. So I think this entire league is shaping up to be something really, really special here.
Absolutely. The entire league. Now that we finally have all of our pools filled out, you guys can see right in front of you who is competing where. And I honestly could not tell you what pool or what team from which pool is going to come out on top, especially with Synergy being inserted into Pool D. That's going to be a very tall task for them. However, like you said, the leadership of Courtney is going to be absolutely huge for them. Carolina is insane every time. If you give her a space, you better be prepared to make an insane stop in net. She is absolutely out of her mind. Sway, I'm not too familiar with, but I'm excited to see what she brings to the table. Like you said, coming over from KCP and now a part of Synergy Esports with probably the greatest logo in all of Rocket League history.
Yes, absolutely one of the greatest logos. Synergy. You know, Courtney and another team member they had on there, Kira, Japanese for killer, and also the name of my little sister. And so I have a little bit of preference to just because of the player's name. They've already won me over just because one of the players' names. So I'm excited to see what they have. And like you said, a former member of KCP and Prestige coming into this pool, the same pool as them. This is going to be a tough one to fill out, but oh my goodness, do we have two extremely stacked pools right now as we transition into kind of recapping the night.
That's actually a good point that you bring up there, Scully. I forgot that Courtney was on Prestige at one point in time. So that's actually a really interesting storyline in Pool D, having Courtney playing against her former organization there in Prestige. So I think that's gonna be an interesting matchup to see as we actually move into the gameplay in the league. And another thing that we kind of glossed over there, Synergy is the second all-female team that we have in the league, in conjunction there with Torrent White, if I heard everyone's introductions correctly. So that is going to be really interesting to see how those two teams. So okay, so I'm being told that Sway is not of that gender. But either way, there it's still going to be an interesting combination of players to see. So I don't even know who I can begin to predict coming out of Pool D, but that is going to be a closely contested pool.
Absolutely, tons of talented teams. But that is all of the teams that we have to reveal for tonight. 20 teams competing in the inaugural Melon Patch League. I do want to take one more quick circuit around the desk real quick, just super quick. Give me which group you are most excited to watch. And we'll start with Mr. Betpick. We'll go in reverse order.
Yeah, I see that myth right there. It is Coach Scully, by the way, in case you haven't learned my name throughout this entire show. As you can see, sometimes the difficulties get to us all. Yeah, my favorite group. That is hard to do. I'm going to say, I dubbed the name, so I'm going to go ahead and say the Electric Pool of Pool B. And my predictions for that is I want to go through my predictions because it is a really good pool here, but it's going to be hard to call. In between Circuitry and SCG are the top two teams, in my opinion, in that pool. Those are going to be the most dominant, the hardest to bring down. But I expect Short Circuit to come out with that number 1 seed, followed by Circuitry. Then I'm putting it in between Noxum and Torrent White. I'm not sure who's going to come out on top there with Naptown at the bottom. Now, I could be sleeping on Naptown. I could be taking a nap on the Naptown, but I do put them at seed 5 and Short Circuit there at the top of Pool B.
Absolutely. I'm not sure who's going to come out of which pool here. I honestly, if I had to pick from Pool A, I'm going to go opposite of you, Scully. I'm going to say Naptown United is going to come out on top of there. Probably going to, oh no, I'm sorry. Not Naptown, 1000 Dreams. I think they are going to end up surprising a whole lot of people and come out of Pool A probably with a 4-2 record. I'm going to say Pool B. Let's go. I'm predicting that Circuitry Gaming and Short Circuit Gaming, as much as we kind of bantered about it, I do believe that those are going to be the top 2 teams. Naptown United will be the 3rd slot, will be the 3 seed out of Pool B. Pool C, could not tell you who's coming out of this. I'm going to say either Escape Velocity or Dracon Esports fighting for that 1 seed at the end of the season. And Pool D, I'm just going to keep it simple. Prestige Esports stays there. I think they're a very talented team. Empire Esports is probably their best competition in that pool. So I'm excited to see what Prestige Esports can do there.
So I like your takes there, Vagabond, but I think for Pool D, Synergy is going to be the team that I think comes out on top in Pool D. They're going to surprise people. Okay. I really think that they're going to surprise people just with honestly, it comes down to Courtney. Like, I just have that much faith in her as a leader on that team that just that is going to be enough to help them. Just kind of, they're not going to blow anybody out of the water. They're going to barely get through, but they're going to, I think, come away with that 1 seed. Now, going back to Pool C, I have to kind of have a little bit of Melon Patch bias here and say that I think that Psyched Gaming is going to be at least that number 1, possibly the number 2 spot. And then whoever else is in that top 2, I believe, is going to come down to either Dracon or Escape Velocity. Pool C is going to be personally the pool I am watching most closely among all of them. Pool B, I mean, I'm thinking personally that Pool B is going to be a fight between 1 and 2 between Circuitry and Torrent, with Short Circuit being right there as the 3rd. Yes, I think that Torrent is going to be a sleeper in this pool, and I think that they're really going to come out with something to prove, and that's going to take a lot of people by surprise. Similarly, in Pool A, I would love to stand with Kev Pert's team there at Lights Out and say that they're going to keep that number 1 spot. But I'll be honest, I've seen how they performed in tournaments. I think they're going to end up in like that 3rd spot. They're going to have to fight into the play-in. But I do think that it's going to be close. Team Meteor and Revenge are probably going to be my top 2 coming out of Pool A. And that honestly is just because I'm familiar with Revenge from in the past, just with the organization. So there's a little bit of caster bias there. But I do believe my top 2 teams out of Pool A are going to be Meteor and Revenge.
Well, that's interesting right there. And coming out with Torrent taking number 1 or 2 in Pool B. I don't know about that. There's a lot of questionable predictions coming out of y'all. I didn't go through my other ones other than Pool B, but in A, I definitely see Lights Out and Meteor taking that run all the way down. Revenge, come on. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not cut out for it, but I definitely see them as a reason that we have the Clash of the Circuits play in to get into the playoffs, that kind of wild card feel. There's a reason we have that, and I think it's going to be for teams like Revenge. And there's another reason we have that. I mean, look at B and D, just stacked to the brim with playoff quality teams. There's going to be some 3rd, 4th, 5th place slots that really could have made a deep playoff push. And it's just going to be very exciting to see some of those, like I said before, get a second chance. Letter C, I'm sorry, not number C. I do not see Sight coming out very high. Like I said, they've gone on some tournaments and placed lower than Rain. And we've already established Rain as kind of a middle of the road squad. So I don't see that. I don't see Psych taking the top spot. I do, however, agree with the fight between Dracon and Escape Velocity.
Yeah, tons of battlegrounds to be seen throughout the entire Melon Patch League. From Group A to Group D, there's just tons of talent, tons of teams that are excited to leave their mark within the Rocket League bubble scene. But that is going to be it for us tonight. You can find all of us, anybody that's been on the desk, you can find all of us on Twitter, where we're sharing our takes, having a little bit of banter with each other. My name has been Awash. I've been accompanied for these last couple segments by an odd fellow Vagabond and Coach Scully, not actually Mr. Bepic. Hopefully their internet's okay. But one final shout out to Prestige Esports as well for forking up the prize pool for the MPL. Again, $1,000 distributed throughout the top 3 teams once the dust has settled and everything is said and done. So to Prestige Esports and to Melon Patch Gaming and the Melon Patch League, thank you for putting on this amazing opportunity for all the teams to compete and have a good time and to improve and get better. But that's it from us. You all have a fantastic rest of the night. We'll see you again very soon.